There are people in their 50s who look 40, and there are people in their 30s who look 50. The difference has very little to do with skincare. Carl Jung spent decades studying the human psyche, and what he discovered about aging will completely change how you see this. Stay with me. And if this kind of deep psychological truth is what you're looking for, subscribe right now, hit the bell, leave a comment, and let's get into this. Most people think looking young is about genetics, or water intake, or some expensive cream, but Jung saw something far more profound happening beneath the surface. He believed that the face doesn't just reflect the body, it reflects the inner life, the unresolved wounds, the suppressed emotions, the unlived dreams. Your face is a psychological document, and once you understand that, you can never unsee it. Let's start with the first real reason. The first reason people look younger than their age is that they have made peace with their shadow. Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, the part of yourself you were told to hide, the anger you were punished for showing as a child, the ambition that made others uncomfortable, the grief you were told to get over too quickly. When you refuse to look at your shadow, it doesn't disappear. It sits inside you and slowly hardens you from the inside out. You've seen it. The person who carries bitterness for 20 years, their face tightens, their jaws lock, their eyes lose warmth. That's not just emotion. That's physiology responding to psychology. Jung called this the price of the unlived life. When you avoid your darkness, it finds other ways to express itself. In your posture, in your tension, in the lines that form not from laughter but from strain. But the person who has done the inner work, who has looked into their shadow without running, they carry a kind of lightness, not because life has been easy for them, but because they are no longer at war with themselves. That internal peace, that absence of internal resistance, it shows on the face. Science now confirms what Jung intuited decades ago. Chronic psychological stress accelerates cellular aging. It shortens the protective caps on your DNA. It increases cortisol, which breaks down collagen. When you stop suppressing and start integrating, your biology responds, your face responds. The shadow doesn't make you ugly. Refusing to face it does. Now the second reason. The second reason people look younger than their age is that they are still becoming. Jung believed that the most dangerous thing a human being could do is to stop growing. Not physically, psychologically. He called the process of becoming your fullest, most authentic self individuation, and he believed it never truly ends. It is meant to continue until death. There's a particular kind of dullness that settles on the face of someone who is mentally retired, consciously or not, that they are finished. Finished questioning. Finished discovering. Finished being surprised by life. And you can see it. The eyes go flat. The curiosity leaves. The expressions narrow to a few defaults. But look at someone who is still in the process of becoming. Someone learning something new. Someone rebuilding after loss. Someone who still asks, what does this mean about who I am? There is light in their faces. There is movement. Not youthful naivety, something far more powerful. Aliveness. Jung wrote that people don't get old because they've lived a long time. They get old because they desert their ideals. He meant this psychologically. When you abandon the pursuit of your deeper self, when you stop asking the uncomfortable questions about your purpose, a kind of psychological death begins long before the physical one. And it shows. Contrast that with the person who remains in dialogue with life, who still feels wonder, who still creates, still risks, still evolves. They age chronologically, but not essentially. Their face holds vitality because their spirit has not surrendered. This is not about toxic positivity. It's not about pretending life isn't hard. It's about maintaining an honest, engaged relationship with your own becoming. That engagement, that refusal to be finished, is one of the most powerful anti-aging forces that exists. And it costs nothing. And this one might be the most confronting. The third reason people look younger than their age is that they have learned how to feel things fully and let them go. Most people do one of two things with difficult emotions. They explode, or they bury. Neither one is processing. Jung understood that the psyche has its own natural flow. Emotions are meant to move through you like water through a channel. The problem is that most of us were never taught how to allow that movement. We were taught to perform, to manage, to appear fine. So emotions don't pass, they accumulate. Grief that was never grieved turns into a weight in the chest. Anger that was never expressed turns into a tension in the jaw. Fear that was never acknowledged turns into a vigilance in the eyes that never fully softens. You carry these unfelt feelings in your body, and the body communicates them visibly. This is what Wilhelm Reich, one of Jung's contemporaries, called character armor. The way emotional suppression physically hardens the body. You can see it in the way someone holds their shoulders, in the tightness around their mouth, in the kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. But the person who has learned to feel fully, to cry when grief arrives, to acknowledge fear without being controlled by it, to express anger in ways that don't destroy, that person flows. And that flow has a physical signature: relaxed muscles, open expression, a face that moves with emotion because it hasn't been frozen by suppression. Jung said that what you resist not only persists, it grows, and eventually it settles into you permanently. But what you allow to move through you leaves, and what leaves stops weighing on you, and what stops weighing on you stops showing on you. So here's what you now understand that most people don't. Looking younger than your age is not primarily a cosmetic issue. It is a psychological one. It is the result of making peace with your darkness, of refusing to stop becoming, of learning to feel fully and release honestly. These are not small things. They are the deepest kind of self-care that exists. Carl Jung didn't write about skincare routines. He wrote about the courage it takes to become a whole human being. And wholeness, real wholeness, is the most radiant thing a human face can carry. If this shifted something in you today, leave a comment below. I genuinely read every single one. Tell me which of these 3 reasons hit closest to home. Like this video if it gave you something real to think about, and subscribe, because this channel exists for the person who wants to go deeper than the surface. 1. P.